So let's talk about, I'm going to give you 5 steps. Here's the first. See my little boot? Isn't that cute? So, clarity of values. So let's talk about values for a minute. Where do your values come from? Parents. Yeah, parents. That's like the first person that, couples that give you values. And what do your parents teach you? What are like the basics? Hard work. What else? Honesty. Yeah. What else? Respect. Don't lie, steal, or cheat. Don't hit your brother. Stuff like that, right? Right? So they always come, how many of y'all feel like this? Right? First of all, we love Liam. We love, how do you not love Liam, right? I wanted to be kidnapped so he could come save me, but whatever. Oh, sorry. Okay, so yeah, so your values come from your parents. We all probably know folks who grew up in a family of, let's say, music. There's a lot of music in the house, and then they grew up to be a musician. And then you also know the folks that there was no music in their house, and they still grew up to be a musician, right? It's like you don't even sure where that came from. So a lot of your values and what you grow into come from you, right? So some are your parents, but just because your parents are giving you a value doesn't mean it's necessarily going to be a value to you. Like honesty is, like, you have to do that one. That one doesn't even count. But on top of that, like, your parents may value family and big get-togethers, and you by nature may be more of an introvert and like, I really need my alone time. Does that make sense? So you have to understand what works best for you. So we have an exercise to do that, okay? So how many of y'all know this movie? Yes, we know The Princess Bride? So here's the premise of The Princess Bride. So they fall in love early on the farm or something, right? And then he goes off to get a job or whatever, and he becomes a pirate, and he spends the whole rest of the movie coming back to her. I mean, that's the gist of it, right? So that's one of my favorite movies. It's on TBS all the time, so if you haven't seen it, you will see it, right? Always has these funny remarks. What's the famous line from the movie? My name is Indigo Montoya. You killed my father, prepare to die. Right? Y'all know that one? Yes? Now it's coming back? Okay. So in that movie, the character I most relate to is the guy. Okay? So here's what I like about the guy. His name is Wesley in the movie. So here's what I like about him. He loves adventure. Okay? So I'm all about adventure. He's funny, right? There's a lot of jokes, a lot of really dry jokes. He's very focused. He has a very focus of, I'm getting back to her, the love of my life, et cetera, and nothing's going to deter him. Even death, right? Nothing's going to deter him. The other thing that I love about the movie is it's a hodgepodge of all these weird people, right? It's like, the one guy's got 6 fingers, and it's all over the place. You got a short guy, you got a tall guy, you got all of it. And everybody's treated the same. Everybody's valued for who they are and what they bring to it. And I just love that. I just love it, okay? So from that, you can take away what my values are. I value fun. I value adventure. I value focus. I value quality, characteristics out of people, etc., right? That's an easy something you can do to understand a little bit more about what's important to you and what your values are, okay? So here's what I want you to do. I want you to think about what your favorite movie is, okay? It can be a romantic comedy. It can be a drama. It can be a documentary. What is one of those movies, and I'm sure you have many, but what is one of those movies that when you're flipping through the TV channel, like, well, now I got to stop and watch the end of it, right? You know those movies? It's like, oh, I got to see what happens, even though I've seen it 50 times. But right? You know those movies. So I want you to think about what that movie is. You got it in your head? Okay. Which character do you most resonate with in that movie? Could be the male, could be the female, it really doesn't matter. Who in that movie do you most register with? Got it? Now I want you to think, why is that? Why do I connect with that person? What makes me think about that character? You got it? So here's what I want you to do. I want you to take about 5 minutes and I want you to talk to your neighbor. and say, here's the movie I had, here's the character I relate to, and here's what I think it means for me. You got it? All right, talk to your neighbor. Come back. Come back. I have more good material for you. We've only just begun. We've only just begun. Okay, so was everybody able to identify a movie? And it could not be Finding Nemo. No, I mean it could be whatever you want it to be. So who's willing to share their example? I want to hear one. I will call on somebody. Yes.
So my favorite movie is The Day After Tomorrow.
The Day After Tomorrow. That's the one with like a meteor or something's coming. What's happening in that one?
It's the Ice Age.
Oh, the Ice Age one. Oh yeah, the world's ending. Yeah, got it. Yeah.
But my favorite character is the main character in the movie. And the reason I like him is because he's very driven.
Oh.
Throughout the whole movie,
Love
even
it.
with each of his relationships, he's very driven with his ex-wife, with his coworkers.
Yeah.
And he's driven to let the world know that the end of the world is coming, but then more so driven with his family and his son, where he decides, where he decides that he's going to, by any means necessary, find his son in New York. He goes to the school.
I remember that one now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, great example. So, let me ask you this. What is a value that you can pick out of that for yourself now? So you talked about driven. Mm-hmm. So what else? I heard it. Did y'all hear it?
Determination, strength.
Purpose.
Yeah.
What I heard was purpose, right? So you have to have a purpose for your life and in your life.
Always.
Right?
Project manager, yes.
You've got it, yeah. So what's going to be key for you is understanding where my purpose is. Does my work have purpose? If you're doing something that doesn't serve a greater purpose, you're like out, right? Okay, so that's a real insight. And you may have already known that intuitively, but having clarity around that and awareness of, like, I don't need a volunteer to be on the Girl Scout committee if there's not a bigger purpose to it. Does that make sense? Yeah. Awesome. Okay, you had one. Tell me yours.
Mine or hers? My
No,
partner's.
yours. Yeah.
Oh,
Don't be
okay.
scared.
Well,
We're all
no.
friends here. This is a safe space. Did I say that? This is a safe space.
This is our happy place.
This is our happy place. Yes, yes.
I'm very partial to King Arthur by Antoine Fuqua, the one with Clive Owen.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotta have Clive. Okay, so.
I
He's
resonate.
so cute. Is it just me? All right, sorry.
I'll let you have
I
that one.
value good-looking guys. No, go ahead. So,
I resonate most with him because he's a leader. He thinks of the rest of his men, and he's put in a position to where he has to look out after them and go against everything he's naturally believed in, and he's on this path to I guess, clarity and understanding.
So you value what?
I value leadership
Yeah.
and understanding.
Yeah. So you value it and you seek it.
Correct.
Meaning you have to work for a strong leader. Because you value leadership, you want to work for someone who's a strong leader.
And then what you said, deeds in themselves are meaningless without purpose, what you just said.
Yeah,
earlier.
that resonates for you too?
Yep.
Write it down.
Yep.
Write it down. Awesome, thank you. One more. Yeah,
My favorite movie is Lawrence of Arabia.
the original one?
The original
Oh,
with
yeah.
Peter O'Toole.
Yeah.
But the character that I identify most is not Peter O'Toole. That was a great performance and certainly memorable. But Colonel Brighton, the British officer who was in Faisal's camp before Lawrence came
Right.
along, at first resisted having a competitor, but finally realized the value and the strength of what Lawrence brought to the war and the focus that he brought, the determination that he had to bring the separate tribes together and work toward a common cause that would benefit all of them.
Yeah.
And so Brighton helped facilitate that over various aspects of the war as it unfolded.
Right.
And at the very end, which was actually the very beginning of the movie, in the opening at St. Paul's Cathedral, basically recognizing his place in history and valuing that as a very remarkable achievement. The life of this incredible man, he was not able to do it himself, but he recognized and facilitated someone who could.
So you know what I
So
hear out of that?
mentoring,
Yeah, I
yes.
hear you want to be a part of something bigger than yourself.
Exactly.
Right? Did y'all hear it? Because that's immediately where you resonate. He knew his role. He knew, I want to be part of it. I can't necessarily be this part, but I can be, and I can be the best at this I can be. Ooh, that kind of gives me chills. That's cool, right? Isn't that cool? Okay, so anybody can do that. And if you aren't able to identify kind of what those values are, talk to someone, just like you did, and kind of go, well, I really connect with this, and what do you think that means? And you'll start to uncover that, okay? So these are mine, many of mine. So the reason I show that is because, again, if you go back and think about who gave you your values as your parents, do you think my parents gave me curiosity or adventure? Maybe, I don't know, but not necessarily inspiration. So inspiration's huge to me. I have quotes everywhere. You know, my news feed is constantly that. If you read my blog, that's all it is, right? So it wasn't like I grew up in a home full of inspiration, you know, and you can do it. It wasn't that at all. But that's where I gravitated, and it is so powerful for me that I know that I am much more aligned with my life's purpose if that's in it. You guys need to be the same. What works for me is not going to work for you, and it shouldn't. And I don't really care if you like those or not, because they're not yours. So you need to know what yours are, okay? So here's your first action item. Okay, so you know what the step is, clarity of values. If you don't know them, you need to start journaling. And what I mean by that is you will start to realize during the day what happens and you feel good about or things that bother you. When you feel upset about something, like something isn't sitting right with you, ever have those moments you're like, this is just not sitting right with me? What is happening is one of your values is not being honored. One of your values is not being honored. When you start to feel upset or like confused or just watch the news, it's because something you value isn't being honored in whatever your context is, okay? So you may not know those. So for you, it may just be journaling. Like, I just need to uncover this more and uncover this more, right? Observe, let me go back to that, sorry. Observe yourself. Recognize at the end, post them. Knowing them is not going to do you any good. They're not somewhere where you can visibly see. Mine are in my office right beside my computer. And I can tell when things start to go awry that I kind of look at that and, okay, so what am I not doing? Okay, so I need to do X, right? Honor them and adjust. If you're not honoring them, that's where you don't feel alignment. If you value adventure and you've never gone on a vacation outside of, let's say, Texas, you might want to explore that a little bit, right? Or maybe what adventure looks like to you is different than what adventure looks like to me, okay? And then adjust. So if you're not honoring what you feel like you need to honor that you know is important to you, that's where you need to make an adjustment. And only you can do that, okay? So now, let's look at the second step.